Hello, my name is Dan Holm. I'm joined by my colleague Steve Wynn, and we'd like to welcome you to our session, Culture and Communications, where we'll explore how you can use Viva Connections, SharePoint, and Yammer to drive deeper and more effective employee engagement across your organization. The scope of the disruption we've experienced over the last 2 years can't be understated. Research tells us the story with data, and every day customers tell us their stories about how the disruption has impacted their businesses, supply chains, markets, and most importantly, their people. What have we learned from this collective disruption that we've all experienced? We've learned that we face a hybrid work paradox in which a majority of workers want to maintain some or all of the flexibility that comes with remote work. And simultaneously, a majority of workers desire more in-person contact with their colleagues. Leaders know the hybrid workplace is here to stay, and they're reimagining their physical and digital workplace and rethinking their work and their workforce. We've also learned that it's the people that power the agility and resilience of your organization, and those people have been put under enormous strain during the pandemic, strain on their mental health and productivity, and strain on the distant connections that connect each person across the organization outside of work groups. We've also learned that in many sectors of the workforce, people are actively seeking new opportunities and an integrated balance of work and life. So how are leaders and organizations applying a growth mindset and moving forward with these learnings? What's next? I think it's never been a more exciting time to reimagine work and the workplace. It's more than just a physical place. It's a digital experience. It's more than hybrid, it's flexible, it's more than inclusive, it's people-centric. That's why organizations are investing in tools not only to empower people to be productive in the hybrid workplace, but also deliver an employee experience that supports people's well-being and growth. That way, people can contribute sustainably to the success of your organization. People will thrive and succeed where culture, communications, and engagement support the organization's mission. Culture guides people's behaviors by establishing shared values and beliefs that are supported by reinforcement systems. Communications align people by clarifying vision and progress towards shared objectives. And engagement activates people to contribute their best selves towards the effort. There's a virtuous cycle between strategy, culture, communications, and engagement, a cycle that accelerates agility and innovation and builds resilience. That cycle slows when connections are reduced, and of course, that's exactly what's happened during the course of the pandemic. That's why, while organizations are investing in people-centric tools like Microsoft Teams to help people collaborate together to get work done, they're also investing in tools to foster connections between people and each other and between people and the organization. Today, we're going to look at technologies that help you foster culture, improve communications, and spark engagement for people across the organization. We'll explore Viva Connections, SharePoint, and Yammer, all three of which are available to you today as part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. And we'll see how these experiences come together in Microsoft Teams to power employee experiences in the apps people use every day, seamlessly integrated with the flow of your work. We'll look at how you can deploy and adopt these scenarios, and we'll equip you with resources to help ensure your success. Let's start with Viva Connections. Last February, we launched Microsoft Viva, our employee experience platform. Microsoft Viva empowers people and teams to be their best by delivering modern employee experiences integrated into the apps people use every day, like Teams and Outlook. Microsoft Viva launched with 4 modules. Viva Insights gives employees, managers, and leaders data-driven insights that help everyone work smarter and thrive. Viva Topics organizes content and expertise across systems to deliver knowledge in the apps people use every day. Viva Learning empowers people to discover, share, and engage with learning to grow personally and professionally. And Viva Connections helps you shape culture, foster connections, and modernize the employee experience. In this session, we're going to explore Viva Connections, and we're thrilled to share that starting today at Ignite, Microsoft Viva Connections experiences are generally available. They're available in 27 languages and they're part of your Microsoft 365 and Office 365 subscription. Now let's focus on Viva Connections. Viva Connections enables you to shape culture, foster connections, and modernize the employee experience, and enables everyone to stay informed, connected, and engaged with each other and with the organization, all inside Microsoft Teams. If you're not already familiar with Viva Connections, this is the money slide that summarizes what you and your organization need to know about Viva Connections. Viva Connections is the gateway to your employee experience. It brings together news, announcements, conversations, apps, tasks, and resources in a single destination. People never have to leave the hub for teamwork. The experience reflects your organization because you can brand it with your name, icon, and colors. And it's personalized for each employee because AI delivers feeds of relevant content, information, and resources. The organization can also tailor the experience for targeted employee groups, like frontline workers or people in specific regions or roles. And you can add custom components that enrich your employee experience using no-code configurations or powerful developer frameworks. You can integrate investments you've already made in partner solutions from leaders like ServiceNow and Workday. Best of all, Viva Connections and its experiences leverage the investments you've already made in Microsoft 365, including SharePoint, Yammer, Stream, and Teams. It's backed by security, compliance, and identity controls that enable you to build an employee experience you can trust. We'll take a look at Viva Connections on desktop and mobile. As we do that, I want you to focus on the three primary user experiences in Viva Connections: the feed, the dashboard, and resources. You'll see those on both desktop and mobile. Let's start by looking at mobile. Here I am on the Teams mobile app on iOS. We see my chat, my activity, and the first app is the Viva Connections app branded for our sample company, Relic Cloud. Here I see the dashboard, a set of cards that I can interact with. For example, the Health Check app allows me to check into the office. I also see cards connecting me to other Microsoft Viva experiences, applications like ServiceNow, information like our stock price, expense report submission, and schedule for our shuttles. The Feed tab provides a personalized feed of news and conversation from across the organization. I can tap into an article and read it without leaving the context of Viva. I can also engage with the article. For example, I might choose to leave a comment. All of this happens right inside of Viva Connections. When I tap back, I'm back in my feed, and I can engage with posts directly from that feed or continue to scroll and read more content. We see a featured news article and information coming to me from our leaders and communicators across the organization, as well as conversations and announcements from communities I belong to. Here's an article I'd love to read, but I don't have time now. I can flag it to save and come back to later. Here's a band of items I've already saved to come back to. And I can read those articles from the band in my feed, or I can tap into the saved items icon. Finally, there's the resources view. The resources view gives me navigation to resources across the organization. These can include resources on SharePoint or third-party systems. And again, all of this is happening right inside of Teams. So after I've finished connecting with news, information, and resources across the organization, I can tap right back into chat. Now let's look at the same experience on desktop. Once again, in Microsoft Teams, we see the Viva Connections application. It's been deployed and pinned to the top of the Teams app bar for everyone in the organization. And it provides a rich gateway to my employee experience with news, information, and resources from across the organization. As we saw on mobile, we have a company feed that you can see at the bottom of the screen. Again, personalized information that's relevant to me, coming from news, announcements, and conversations across the organization. Scrolling down a little bit further, we can see that the organization has curated a rich employee experience that communicates culture, vision, upcoming events, and other news. You might have noticed that on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a vertical column that features the dashboard. This is the same dashboard I saw on my mobile device. And once again, these aren't just pretty cards. I can interact with them. For example, submitting time off. Finally, there's links to resources across the organization. I can tap the app for my organization, in this case, Relic Cloud, and I can get to that navigation that we saw on mobile. One of the most exciting things about Viva Connections is that you can integrate apps from partners and you can build custom applications that surface right inside Viva Connections to enrich your employee experience. One such application is the Return to Work app that we've built and are making available to you at the link shown on the slide. The Return to Workplace solution is powered by Power Platform. It offers your workforce the self-service tools they need to feel confident about returning and remaining productive while on site. Employees and students can use the Return to Workplace app to check in remotely and self-screen before entering a building. Using Viva Connections, you can add this Return to Workplace app as a card at the top of the dashboard for easy discoverability. This enables organizations to comply with federal and other vaccine mandates by providing their workers with easy-to-access policy information and tools to submit vaccine attestations and accommodations. The updated app is available for you today in public preview. Now let's turn our attention to the content that we saw in the feed of news and conversations from across the organization. We'll take a look at SharePoint News, and then we'll turn our attention to Yammer. SharePoint News allows you to create and share rich news articles across the organization, including through the Viva Connections feed. I'm going to go ahead and create a new news post. I could start with a blank page, but it's faster to start with a template created by my organization. I can simply enter the title for the article and then start configuring the page itself. I'll upload an image for the top of the page. I'll upload it straight from my local system and then set a focal point to make sure the image looks great across devices. Now, I could type the article directly into the page, but we've already been creating this article in Word. We've worked together to edit and create an awesome article that includes formatting and pictures. Rather than recreating that in SharePoint, I can copy and paste it. When I paste it into SharePoint, it maintains the formatting and pictures that came from Microsoft Word. I can make a few tweaks that are right for the web presentation of this article. For example, I'm going to move this photo over to the left so the text wraps around the right. I'll set the photo to a decent size and look for any additional formatting changes. This particular quote would look better as a pull quote, which I can choose from the formatting bar. When the article's perfect, I can fill in the page details with a thumbnail and a summary of the article that will appear in the feed. I can choose to schedule the article, assign categories, and even target the article at a specific audience. For example, if this article is appropriate for our marketing team, I can pick it from our list of Active Directory groups. This article is ready for approval, so I'll send it off to our editor, put in a quick note, and submit. Soon after the article is approved, it appears in the company feed in Viva Connections across desktop and mobile. If all that was in a feed was news coming from the top of the organization, it wouldn't drive the kind of engagement and eyeballs that benefit both communicators and employees alike. One of the richest forms of content that can come into your feed comes from Yammer, from the communities that people engage with every day to share knowledge and share experience across the organization. The Viva Connections feed includes announcements from the all-company community and from the communities that you belong to. Featured conversations, live events, content from people you follow, and conversations you follow will also appear in the Viva Connections feed. And soon, you'll be able to navigate to your favorite communities and your joined communities from the Resources tab on mobile.
Thanks, Dan. I'm Steve Wynn, and at Yammer, we're excited about the contribution that Yammer can make to Viva Connections and our customers' employee experience. Now, before we get too far, I'd like to just take a moment to level set the place that we see Yammer having within the Microsoft 365 suite. Yammer continues to be the place for connecting and engaging employees across your organization. That's really our strategic positioning of Yammer within the suite. We bring a set of differentiated superpowers to drive scenarios that are really critical for organizations, particularly in these times of hybrid work. These scenarios include things like fostering community and conversation, building connectedness of people across your organization, not just in their core working groups, but shared around shared interests, topics, and initiatives. We really want to drive open conversation and make that conversation discoverable so that people can serendipitously connect with valuable content, people, and topics across their organization. Communicating and engaging at scale, harnessing knowledge, getting answers and ideas, these are core premises to what Yammer is really about. And Yammer serves these scenarios natively in our core web and mobile apps, and also across the suite in Teams, in Outlook, and SharePoint, and also in Viva. So Yammer is really about connecting and engaging people across the organization. It's really this broad set of scenarios that have become important, more important than ever over the last 18 months. And during the pandemic, organizations really clamored to move their work to the cloud, and many of you had a big part in doing so. But the pandemic also put stresses on organizations that are outside of just individual work groups. It was more than just about collaborating and meeting in the cloud, but how do you build and drive a company culture? How do you maintain not only strong, but weak ties as well? How do you drive organization-wide communication, break down barriers to sharing knowledge and encouraging people to connect and foster their extended networks within your organizations? What we found is that individual connections have been shown to be really critical for employee well-being and success. And these are the scenarios that have really driven astronomical growth of Yammer over the past 18 months. Now let's dive into how we're enabling community and discovery within your organizations. Communities have always been the heart and soul of Yammer. We've built Yammer so that your employees can find people and affinity groups that give them a sense of belonging within your organizations. Did you know that when your employees can find and become members of at least 5 communities, they're much more likely to be retained in Yammer as an engaged user? Which is really why we want to give your employees greater visibility to the communities that are available in your Yammer network. On the Yammer homepage, we've included a suggested communities module. This module uses machine learning to detect signals from who you're connected with and communities you currently engage with to suggest communities that might be right for you. We've also updated the community discovery experience to be much more visual and appealing. And new to Yammer is official communities. Now, as a network administrator, you can anoint communities as official in your network. This gives your employees the safety and confidence that this is the new hire community that is officially sanctioned for new employees at your organization. Now, as you can see, we've made the community feed vibrant. Reactions are now inclusive so that your employees can express themselves in a way that connects to their sense of belonging. Post types like praise, polls, and questions stand out visually. Images and videos are also prominent in engaging within the feed. Now, we've incorporated nested replies. This long-awaited update to our thread view will make it even easier to consume those threads that have multiple replies. Now, the great thing about Yammer Communities is that they're also available to you wherever you want to get your work done, whether that's the Yammer Communities app in Teams, in Outlook, or if you're on the go in the Yammer mobile app. We want to meet your employees where they're at. Now, while I'm on the Yammer mobile app, let's take a moment to check out the Yammer home feed. Discovery continues to be one of the key differentiators Yammer provides to you and your employees. Our feed uses signals from across Yammer and across the suite to serve up content that is most relevant to you. It's the one place where you get a bird's eye view of what's happening across your communities and across your organization. It's the place where we bring you a consolidated view of the knowledge sharing that is happening across your network. Speaking of knowledge, our customers with the greatest longevity and success with Yammer know how powerful Yammer can be as a platform to share knowledge and information at scale. As an employee within an organization, there's a sense of engagement that comes with having an ability to share best practices and insights. Knowing that I'm able to contribute to the growth of my culture increases my sense of connectedness to the organization. Conversely, when I know where to go to get answers to my questions and can gather information for me to get my job done, that's also deeply satisfying and contributes to my overall employee engagement. Which is why we're investing in new capabilities like Answer Upvote. Answer Upvote takes Yammer question and answer to the next level by letting your employees vote on answers in a Q&A thread. Now, this is particularly useful when the best answer in a thread isn't clear-cut. Or maybe you're using Yammer to ideate and want to vote on the best ideas within a thread. Did you know that questions get about 70% more replies than regular posts? So if you're looking for ways to get people engaged, questions are a great way to do that. And as you start to build momentum around Q&A in your communities, question and answer insights give you a snapshot of the question and answer activity that is happening. Keep track of how many questions are being asked, at what rate best answers are being marked. Keep an eye on the status of any new questions in your community, because it helps you gauge whether your community members are getting the responses that they need. And we're really excited to continue to extend the capabilities of Yammer to other parts of the suite. In this case, with Viva Topics. Soon, Yammer Topics will be connected to Viva Topics, which will allow your employees to see key information about that topic on the Viva Topics card. We're also going to bring the richness of Yammer Q&A directly to the Viva Topics page itself. When your employees land on the topic page, they see a list of curated, frequently asked questions, or they can ask questions directly on the page. AI-assisted routing will help connect people with the experts that can best answer their questions. We're bringing a new experience for questions and answers into meetings with the Q&A app in Teams. This allows meeting organizers and presenters to add open or moderated Q&As to any Teams meeting. This is perfect for those large meetings where chat is a little bit unruly and you need a bit more structure. The Q&A app enables attendees to ask and reply to questions before and during a meeting. Organizers and designated presenters can mark best answers, filter responses, moderate and dismiss questions, and even pin posts. This new Q&A capability will make your large Teams meetings feel much more organized and durable. Now, for all you corporate communicators out there, we have some new capabilities for you too. Yammer continues to be the best place to engage your employees in communications that scale to tens or even hundreds of thousands of employees. Through the pandemic, we've heard your stories about how Yammer has served as a way to communicate critical information and to keep your leaders connected with your employees. Let's start in All Company. All Company is the one community that automatically includes all employees in your organization. You're free to brand All Company to your liking by configuring the community cover photo and community avatar. You can even rename All Company to something that better suits your organization. And should you choose to do so, All Company allows you to restrict thread starts to only admins of the community. As such, many of our customers use All Company as their de facto corporate communications channel. In this example, Megan is going to create an All Company announcement. By doing so, Megan is able to create a message that reaches everyone in her company. For someone like Alex, who prefers to do his work in Teams, he can receive and get notified of Yammer announcements in his Teams activity feed, where he can see the Yammer thread live and take the actions he needs right in the flow of his work. Or someone like Lydia, who spends most of her time in Outlook, she can get the announcement as a rich notification in email. Now, Lydia can actively participate in the Yammer conversation without having to break her flow. For organizations that wish to better curate and control the types of conversations that take place in a particular community, Yammer is introducing new admin settings to restrict posting in a given community. Once the setting is enabled, only community admins will have the ability to post in that community, while any other member of the community can still reply or react to the thread. We also recently made available the ability to delegate posting to others. Perhaps you have a shared corporate communications account that you want multiple people to contribute to. Our delegate settings allow you to safely share the duties of posting to Yammer. Getting email notifications about announcements in Yammer is great, but it does depend on members of your community having opted into receiving those email notifications. Our new Essential Announcements feature helps community managers deliver critical updates to community members, regardless of their email notification settings. For those times when you want to really create assured delivery of a message, make it an essential announcement. But you don't want everything to be an announcement. Otherwise, it just becomes noise. And that's why we've given network admins the ability to boost or amplify the visibility of certain posts with featured conversations. When you feature a conversation, it promotes the post into the home feed of everyone in your organization. You can specify how long you want the thread to be featured. And this is a great way for you to curate important threads into everyone's discovery experience. Now that you've sent some announcements, maybe you featured it, you want to get some data about how that thread is performing. Conversation Insights allows you to do just that. Whether someone viewed the thread from Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, Viva Connections, or Yammer, Conversation Insights will aggregate all the views into one place. See when you took actions to feature or pin a thread and how it performed after you took those actions. You can see the distribution of reactions, the top comments, and where the thread has been shared. You've now seen how Yammer brings a rich set of tools to support your corporate communication scenarios. You see how Yammer's omni-channel approach allows you to reach your employees on the web, on mobile, in Teams, Outlook, and Viva Connections, and to see data about how your employees are engaging with your important communications. Communities create the flywheel of connectedness and engagement that fosters success. One of the key benefits of Yammer is that these scenarios aren't standalone. They really connect with each other as you build community and people get used to having open conversations and discovering new people they didn't even know existed in their organization. This drives greater connectedness between people and between working groups. These communities give communicators the audiences to drive communications and information to. They allow your organization to tap into its collective knowledge. And in the end, the mission of Yammer is to increase connectedness of people and to help your employees feel a sense of well-being at the individual, team, and organizational level.
Now that we've taken a look at the tools, let's turn our attention to how you can deploy and drive successful adoption of Yammer, SharePoint, and Viva Connections. I'm going to share 9 steps with you. For more details, see the URL on the screen. Let's take a moment to visualize the experience we're building. Steve showed you Yammer Conversations, and I showed you SharePoint News. These make up the foundation of content for the feed. Each of these tools supports targeting an audience. SharePoint has audience targeting based on Active Directory groups, and Yammer Conversations can be targeted to communities, which are themselves groups as well. That creates a personalized feed that you can add to your SharePoint home site using the new feed web part. Then you can bring that entire experience into Microsoft Teams using the Viva Connections app that brings the home site, the feed, the dashboard, and the resources navigation across desktop and mobile. Here are the steps to get there. First, create and designate your SharePoint home site. This can be any SharePoint modern site, and you designate it using SharePoint Administration Center. This site curates the desktop and web experience and also provides the dashboard and navigation configuration. Your home site can also be a source of organizational news. After you've pointed to your home site in the SharePoint admin, you can then go to that home site and configure the SharePoint app bar. The SharePoint app bar powers the global navigation to resources in SharePoint and across your digital estate. You can target links to employee groups, and the global navigation will appear in the resources view on mobile. Next, configure your dashboard. The dashboard cards represent links to resources and can surface information and enable direct interaction with applications. Your dashboard can be tailored for desktop and mobile experiences, and you can target cards to employee groups. You can add cards that we provide out of the box, or you can create custom cards or bring in cards from partners. After you've configured your SharePoint home site, it's time to bring the experience into Teams by deploying Viva Connections and the Communities app in Microsoft Teams. Let's take a look at the steps. Here we are in the Teams Administration Center. Click Manage Apps and look for the Viva Connections app. If you haven't done so already, allow the app, then click Customize. Here's where you can rename the app, give it a custom description, and change the icon and colors to reflect the identity of your organization. We'll call the Connections app the landing here at Relic Cloud, and I'll go ahead and upload new icons. After we've published that application, it's now available to Teams users. We can go into the application to review the settings and change them. But remember, we just renamed the app, so it won't be called Viva Connections anymore. It's now going to be called the landing. Here's where we could change settings or even reset the application back to the Viva Connections defaults. Now that the app has been installed, we can deploy the app using app setup policies. I'll add the app to our global app policy. Again, looking for the app by its new name, the landing. You'll notice it has the new icon. And then I also want to add the Communities app in order to provide deep engagement with communities right inside of Microsoft Teams. I'll add the Communities app. And then to make them appear in the right place for users, I can move the applications up. We'll put landing at the top and we'll put Communities right below Teams. And when we're all done, we've configured the perfect employee experience in Microsoft Teams. Now that the experience is deployed, it's time to create great content. You saw how to publish SharePoint news. You saw how to share announcements in communities. Those will be the heart of your feed, enabling people to see what's going on around the organization and with communities that they're part of. Finally, you can measure your impact using site analytics, page analytics, and conversation analytics from Yammer, so you can understand the reach and the impact that your experience is having. As you embark on your journey to foster culture, modernize communications, and drive engagement, we have lots of resources to help. Have you heard about Fast Track? It's a benefit offered by Microsoft that provides expert guidance to help you enable Microsoft Viva and foundational services like Yammer and SharePoint. Microsoft engineers or approved Fast Track ready partners will provide remote guidance to help you figure out which Viva modules will best address your needs. Our experts will help you to assess your source environment and determine your scenario requirements. Then we'll walk you through the configuration steps for each service you want to enable. If you have 150 or more eligible seats, you can get this deployment guidance at no additional cost as part of your eligible subscription. Go to the URL on the screen to submit a request for assistance today.
And if you're a person that wants to get started on their own, we've got lots of great resources for you too. All the steps that Dan talked through around how to get started with Viva Connections are available on this slide. If you're new to Yammer and want to get started with Yammer as well, we've got a lot of great adoption resources, tips, and tricks on the screen as well. Also included is the link to the Fast Track offering that Dan just mentioned. On behalf of Dan, the Yammer team, and the Viva Connections team, we want to thank you for your time and your interest to learn more about how we're bringing employee experiences to you. We look forward to seeing you in person next year.